Today's review is brought to you by Entertainment Earth. Shop entertainmentearth.com and bring Hollywood home. Hey everybody, and welcome to another ActionFeatures.net video spotlight. Calling this one video spotlight and not a Toy Talk review because the Toy Talk reviews are really the ones where we all do together and we sit at the couch and we talk about them. This one I really just wanted a quick down and dirty review of this because entertainmentearth.com had emailed me and said, hey, we've got this Astromech Droid pack coming out. We were curious if you would like to have an early sample of it to review because it's not available till November, but we've got a few in, and we're sending out some review samples, and we were wondering if you'd like to do one. And I said, sure, I'd love to review one if you want to send one over. So that is what I'm doing now. And in order to get up as fast as possible, I'm just going to do the down and dirty review right here at the table and post a small gallery online so you can take a look at pictures afterwards, and those will be linked in the info section. There will also be a link to order it if you decide you want the pack afterwards on the in the YouTube info section or below the pictorial review. Got it? Okay. So, as I said, this won't be available until November. This is kind of a celebration of a previous EntertainmentEarth.com exclusive. That was back 10 years ago. They did these Droid packs, and they were super popular. And I was actually collecting the 3 3/4 scale back then when those came out. And that was one of my favorite exclusives back then, was those little Droid packs. This is not the same kind of packaging as those Droid packs, though. Those were just plain rectangular boxes. Whereas this, as you can see, is some pretty awesome packaging. They've made it so that the box itself is in the shape of R2-D2, and you've got the 6 Astromech droids in the center of him, but there's still a panel behind where you can see the rest of R2, so if you took this out, it would make the complete picture of R2-D2. Or, I guess not R2-D2, but an Astromech droid of some type, since there's no blue on him. It does have the Entertainment Earth exclusive sticker on it. You got the window there. The top flap is just one panel. It's really tough to kind of get everything in on this picture table because it is so tall. Here's a standard 3 3/4 Saga Legends Star Wars figure here standing next to it. This packaging is huge. So it's tough to get everything in on the video. It's pulling back the camera too far, you'll see the rest of my picture table. But this top panel is the only part where it's not, a thicker box. And if this were any other place that had this as exclusive in a mail away, I would be worried about this panel being bent over. But Entertainment Earth does a really good job of packing their stuff. The box that this came in was quite large with a lot of packing material. And I myself has never had an experience where Entertainment Earth sent me a damaged item. They understand collector mentality. It's not like Amazon where a lot of times they'll throw it in a bubble wrapper and they really don't understand that people want mint packaging. Entertainment Earth does understand that. So in all likelihood, if you order from them, you're going to get something that's in good shape when it arrives. So the front of the box, we see all the figures, we got all the warning labels, all that stuff. The back of the box, you get a back shot of R2, and the 6 R2 units, I keep saying R2 units, but it's really Astromech droids that are included in this set. We've got Jabba's Bartender, R7F5, QTKT, R7D4, R2C2, and R2A5. So those are the 6 droids you get in this set, and they all are from canon. They're all part of the Star Wars universe. These aren't made-up droids. They're all droids that have appeared in something. And we'll get into that once we get out of the box. Let's take a look at it one more time from the front here before we open these guys up. And here we have all the Astromech droids out of the box. Okay, so let's begin with talking about the mold they've used for this Astromech. Now, as I said earlier, I used to be really hardcore into the 3 3/4 Star Wars line, and eventually I started becoming a pick and chooser until eventually I kind of left the multi-articulated line behind and more focused on Black Series and the Saga Legends stuff. But I did pick up figures here and there along the line, and one of those figures that I picked up was the Vintage Collection Jabba's Sail Barge because it was such a cool looking R2. I can't find him right now to compare him with these, but I'm pretty sure that's the mold they've used here because it includes all the things that mold had. It was a really great mold of R2-D2. It was very accurate, probably one of the nicest they've done, and it had a lot of cool features packed into a small figure. And so that's the mold that I believe they're using here, and that's cool because you're getting 6 really good R2s out of that. The mold is a very accurate sculpt to begin with. It's got joints here at the shoulders, I guess you would say, R2's shoulders. Then it's got pivots here at his ankles. Each of the 2 side feet have 2 wheels inside of them. The middle foot does not have a wheel, but it does have that pivot. so that it can get that sort of ankle up and down movement. Now, the one thing about the third leg that can be somewhat frustrating about this mold is that it incorporates itself into the action feature on the dome. The dome has a panel that pops up, and you do that by pushing in that third middle leg, and that panel is the little periscope slash sensor scope piece, and that actually pulls out because on the R2 sailing barge mold, his bartender sail barge mold, there was a pop-out lightsaber also, so that little mechanism made it so you could pop out the lightsaber too. So if you have him in two-leg mode, you can either have that panel empty or have his sensor scope slash periscope out. But there is no version where you can just have a complete flat dome while doing the two-legged feature. That's minor for me. I think that overall being able to have those two features, the third leg and the pop-out sensor scope, having those two features to me is more important than having both display modes and having to have a full round dome. If you want to have the full round dome, just pull out all three legs. No big deal. The other little feature it has is that little electronic arm thing that he zapped Salacious Crumb with. So this little panel swings out, and then another piece swings out, and he's got that little zapper arm. And all 6 have that. The only difference on 2 of them is that it also includes the sailing barge accessories, which is the little drink dispenser that plugs in at the top, but all of the other 4 molds still have that dot in the top of the dome, so that you could put that piece on one of these if you wanted to, and then the little drink tray. And the drink tray just sits on him, and it has 7 individual drinks that all pop out. Now you'll be able to see that better in the pictures that I'm going to post in the small gallery I'm going to do. But the 2 bartenders both have this same piece. So you get 2 that have those extras, and the other 4 just have those features that I just mentioned to you. So the 4 droids that you're getting here are 4 from the Clone Wars and 2 from the original Star Wars films. The 4 from the Clone Wars are, let's see here, R7F5, we'll put him right here. QTKT, we'll put her right here. And then we'll do R7D4, we'll put him right here. And R2C2, we'll put him right here. Sorry, there's so many droid names to try and keep track of here. I'm trying to read the back of the box to make sure I don't get the names wrong. And then the last 2 here, we've got R2A5 from Star Wars A New Hope, and we've got Jabba's bartender from Star Wars Return of the Jedi, who's never been given a straight droid designation. He's just known as Jabba's bartender. Okay, so starting off with R7F5 here, he's an orange droid with some grayish highlights. I've already explained all the features to you, so I don't really have to go all over that again. And if you want to know more about how they appeared in each of these mediums, the Clone Wars ones especially, I don't know the exact appearances of them, but on entertainmentearth.com's site, when you look at these, there's a rundown of where each one appears in the show. The QTKT is not to be confused with the R2KT, which was a tribute droid that was in pink that a lot of people know about. This one's really cool. I really like this one because of the patterning that they've done on it, on the chest, I guess you would say, and these sort of yellow and black hazard symbol things along the top. It's kind of tough to make it out on the video because of lighting, but you can kind of see it there. That one I really, really think is cool. I like the way she looks. I guess she. I don't know why I'm saying she, but it seems like a she name. She also has these cool little pink panels on her feet. I think those are really neat. She's maybe my second favorite of the set. I haven't told you which one my favorite is yet. The next one up is R7D4, again from Clone Wars, and he's got a brown patterning with gray, like a light gray. He's cool. Maybe he and these 2 are kind of on the same level for me, where it's like, okay, well, those are just some kind of cool droids to be in the background, and not anything too memorable in look. This next one, though, this R2C2, which I think was Zero's bartender on Clone Wars, if I remember right, the Clone Wars movie. This one is so cool looking, and I'm sorry if I got him kind of going wonky. He's got such a cool patterning design to him in this blue and red and the gray. I really like the paint job on this one. And the fact that he's got the bartender piece too, he's probably my favorite in the set. I think he's really neat looking. And this would be cool. You know, these molds are all more realistic molds. They're not the Clone Wars style molds where it looks like the animation. But I think this guy would still look cool with the old Clone Wars animated toys. I think this would still fit in just fine. You wouldn't look at this and go, you know, that doesn't really look like the Clone Wars Astromech mold. I'm sorry, I'm knocking everything down here. I think he looks pretty sharp the way he is. He doesn't really need to be the animated mold to still look really, really cool. The last two are actually from the Star Wars films. This droid was seen in the original version of Star Wars before they did the special edition and changed. It's one of the, I think it's the droid that kind of rolls behind the land speeder as the Sand Troopers talking to Obi-Wan, or it's somewhere in Mos Eisley, but you don't see it in the special edition now. And he's a white droid with some green highlighting on him. Nothing too special, but it's always cool when you get one that was actually seen in the films, especially the classic films. The figures that don't exist for the classic films are few and far between, so this one's kind of a cool one in the set for people that collect all of the classic trilogy characters. And the last one, again, is one that's seen in the classic films. This is Jabba's bartender. You can barely see him in the film. I think maybe you can only see his dome, and he's never been fully shown. So maybe they did a little artistic license on what they're doing here. And if I remember right in the description, they also talk about how his patterning is somewhat like a refreshing soft drink or something, which to me is kind of like Coke, maybe? Because the red and white, maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's what they're talking about. But he's got a cool stripe. I'm going to move his bartending stuff here. He does have a cool stripe that goes down his dome from the front to the back. And it's kind of off-centered. It doesn't go directly down the center of his dome. So that's kind of neat. Kind of a cool design on this one. All right, so there they all are lined up. I want to bring in a Saga Legends Luke again here. If we can squeeze him into the shot. There. Oh, Luke, stand up. There we go. That way you get a better idea of the scale of these guys. It's a really nice scale. It's not too far off from what it should be. That's about where R2 should hit on these. Okay, there'll be a gallery posted online. I want to talk real quick about the price. All right, it's an $80 set, and a lot of people are going to look at that and go, wow, that's a lot of money for just 6 droids. Unfortunately, that's the name of the game nowadays. Star Wars figures are not cheap like they used to be, especially more articulated versions like these are. You only find those really in exclusives, like the Black Series line at Walmart, which I believe are $12.99 a figure. Looking at it that way, when you're getting 6 figures and the retail price on an articulated 3 3/4 figure is about $12.99 now, that price is pretty much right in line. Articulated classic Star Wars figures just don't exist on regular stores anymore. It's a bummer, but the days where we would get characters like this, background R2 units, just don't happen anymore. The line is more about the current films, the current media, Rebels cartoon, Star Wars Rogue One, those kind of things, and doing less articulation figures like this Saga Legends. And I love Saga Legends, but a lot of people still collect these, where they want their more articulated figures. And an R2 like this, you're not going to find in the regular line anymore. It's going to be a cheaper version of R2-D2. So for those collectors that are still hanging on to that line and still want to fill in the gaps of small figures that didn't exist, like these guys here, you're going to have to pay exclusive prices. And an $80 set for 6 of those figures is right in line with what you're going to be paying. So, that being said, this is not a set that I would think that, you know, your standard collector is going, or I'm sorry, not standard collector, but more of a laid back, just picking up figures here and there kind of collector is going to go after. But for those guys that have been in it for the long haul, that really want to fill in their collections, or they're looking to build up their droids, or they're looking to do dioramas and have a little bit of variety on there, this pack is right up your alley. Alright, so if you want to order one, hit the info section, there'll be a link below. Thanks again to entertainmentearth.com for sending this over. Really cool set to check out. If you want to check out more of our videos, hit the subscribe button and check out our channel. And then again, hit the gallery below if you want to see individual pictures of all these guys. That's it for this one. See you guys next time.